Like they were just killing people for like their own weird little relationship game. Like it's just so
to strengthen
weird
their bond. Yeah. They would tell each other things like, if you love me, you're going to kill this person, and mind games.
Healthcare horrors. Murder. Welcome back to another episode of Healthcare Horrors. My name is Alicia Carasella, and I'm your veteran recruiter.
My name is Ashley Boyce, and I am a brand specialist.
And I'm Dolan on the knobs.
And I'm Dolan. What's up, guys? On the knobs.
Ashley with the good eyebrows.
Oh,
today, yes, girl,
good job.
Get it. So last time we talked about the beginning of kind of what was going on with Gwendolyn Graham and Cathy Wood. We talked about Gwen's horrible childhood in Texas, and then she fled to Michigan to kind of do her own thing and ended
get
up
away from her effed up family.
Yeah, but she just got
in
a worse situation.
Yeah,
I feel like maybe she just brought her effed up family with her.
No, she didn't.
She didn't. She just doesn't know how to pick people in her life.
That's a good way to put it.
Her picker is broken. I think had Gwendolyn not met Cathy Wood, she may have not turned into a murderer. I don't think she would have had a great life.
In the trial, that was actually said that...
Oh, really?
Yeah, because...
But I don't think like she herself would have taken it that far. So,
interesting.
Bam.
So Gwen had her really messed up childhood. She moved to Michigan. She meets Cathy Wood, who we have not talked about too much yet. Cathy.
That's the air duct.
What's all these sounds today?
I thought we were getting abducted by aliens.
It's so funny because
it sounds like it. I feel like I just put my little tin hat on and just beam me up.
I've been recording podcasts in this room for 2 years now, over 2 years now, and it's like I hear the thing and I'm like, oh yeah, and I make a mental note like, gotta edit that.
Okay, so I don't have a ton on her childhood, but I have a lot about her husband and that relationship. Do you have some stuff for her childhood, or because they didn't really say anything?
I have when she was born and like a few things, if you want me to run through that. Catherine May Carpenter was born March 7th, 1962 in Soap Lake, Washington. And
Did you say Soap Lake?
Yeah, Soap Lake, and it's spelled like soap.
Lake.
That's a real place. I know. I looked that up too. Like that doesn't sound real.
Made up. Fake news.
Her father was shipped to Vietnam, and he was pretty absent in Cathy's life. When he came back, he was an alcoholic, and she didn't really get a healthy example of what love is from her parents.
Then she marries this wonderful man named Ken, who, I don't know how old he was, but he married Cathy in 1979 when she was 17 and pregnant.
Yes.
So, Wood claims that she allowed herself to get pregnant so she could leave her abusive childhood home. But she was also diagnosed as a pathological narcissist, so nobody knows what's the truth and what's a lie. So we don't know if she actually had an abusive childhood home or if she just made it up.
Yeah, I have that her mom found out like the lies she was spreading about being abused by her father and stuff, and her mother made sure to like set it straight, that to Ken at least, that
that didn't happen.
Yeah, her father never beat her. And like before she met Ken is when they moved to Grand Rapids, Michigan. So I don't even know if we talked about that last time, that Alpine Manor and all of this unfolds in Grand Rapids. So there you go.
I thought it was Walker.
What?
Walker, Michigan.
Oh, Walker. Okay, Walker.
Is that a suburb?
It's a suburb of. Okay. Yeah, there you go.
Okay. We did not mention it last time.
There we go. That's where we're at.
So then this baby daughter was born, and Wood acted like she didn't want anything to do with her daughter. Ken says that Cathy Wood didn't bond with her daughter, and that she seemed irritated by the fact that she needed caring for. Cathy was withdrawn and self-isolating, and she became a cluttered and filthy person. So,
I also have that she gained a lot of weight during her pregnancy, and she got to 415 pounds.
Oh, I did not know that.
That's
a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah, she gained quite a bit of weight. I have another weird fact about their relationship too.
Go ahead.
I think this happened before they had Jamie, their daughter. But just to further paint a picture about what kind of nut job Cathy was, she would do weird things in her and Ken's relationship, like make a girl call Ken, and Cathy would sit in on the call and have this girl just say random things like, I know you from work, or try to initiate conversation just to see how Ken would react to make sure that he was staying loyal. And she was obviously therefore very manipulative, and these weird games just started in her head at a young age. So she would do weird things like that in their relationship.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, all that going on, Ken thought that maybe it would be a good idea for Cathy to get a job and get out of the house, and that maybe she would start to feel better. So his intentions with this idea were good, but what happens, obviously, is murder. So it went bad. And I think she was cheered up, though. I think
for a
she
brief
did.
while.
Yeah. So he had no idea, obviously, that she was gonna go on and do what she did.
Yeah.
So then her and Gwendolyn, Cathy and Gwendolyn meet. And apparently there's this close-knit community of lesbians at the Alpine Manor nursing home.
There really is. Yeah.
It's like a whole community.
Kind of, I don't know. I don't know. It's not weird, but it was like they were all kind of like sleeping around with each other, all the nurses' aides. So, what? Yeah.
Yep. So that Cathy ends up making lots of friends, even though the friend group is pretty close-knit. But then, like we had talked about before, she really likes drama and stirring up the pot and kind of messing things up for everybody else. So, she ends up divorcing Ken, and then she quickly finds another man to marry, who she also divorces. And then it says she stayed with him just long enough to confess to murdering 5 women in her care at Alpine Manor.
What?
Yep. So she tells the new man that she killed all these people and then divorces him. And I'm going to tell you, if you marry somebody and then you tell them about a crime you committed, I think you have to keep them so they can't testify against you. You should not divorce them.
Ugh.
Just saying.
I totally
don't murder, don't commit crimes, but if you're going to... This is the thing that drives me crazy. Just be a little bit smart about it. So anyways, he tells the cops.
Yes.
You want to pick up with the next 3?
Yeah. We'll get into the next 3 murders. Does she get remarried to a different man?
Yes.
Or does she...
It's the man is not named, but she just marries a
Okay.
completely new guy.
Because, I at least read that she got back in touch with Ken. They didn't, get back together, but she reached out to Ken and told him, oh, okay, maybe it's a different guy.
Yep, nope, it's a different guy.
Oh, goodness. Okay, so yeah, we'll get back into the 3 murders. So
now we're going to see Gwendolyn and Cathy. It was her idea.
Yep.
She did it. She made me do it.
Very toxic relationship.
I only did this.
So yeah, Marguerite, what was it? Where is her name at? Yeah, Marguerite Chambers and Myrtle Luce so far are their first 2 victims.
We talked about that in the last
episode.
In the first part.
Yes, which we covered in the last episode. We also did cover that the turnover rate at Alpine Manor, although it's a very respectable place, the turnover rate for nurses' aides is at 66%, so it's a high turnover rate, and this is why they easily get away with a lot. They play a lot of weird pranks on each other, and their weird games lead to them murdering people, and they want to spell out the name murder like horse, only by killing people. But instead they prey on weaker victims.
So they end up committing 5 murders total, and I think they're all women.
Mm-hmm.
And so all but 2 of them had been cremated, but luckily the other 2 were exhumed. Their bodies were exhumed for autopsies, but they were suffocated, so it was kind of hard to... There's really no evidence, so that was kind of a moot point.
And they usually already had like underlying symptoms already of a brain disease or something. So yes, Cathy and Ken do split up. Ken takes their daughter Jamie, and it just sounds like those 2 are not in Cathy's lives. More like Cathy's not in their lives. She didn't really like being a mom or anything. She starts dating a lady named Dawn at the nursing home. That was an affair while she was still married, but her and Dawn eventually break up. So Cathy meets Gwendolyn, and those 2 get together. Cathy is very popular at Alpine Manor. It just sounds she's a loud, I don't want to say fun, but she's a partier. So she's kind of popular there. So Cathy's 24 years old. Gwendolyn's 23 years old. They begin their relationship. They move in together. They move really quickly. They develop kind of a codependence on each other, which grew with their odd sense of humor, pranks, and led to murder. So now we're going to get to February 16th, and these murders take place really close together. So February 16th, only 6 days after their second murder of killing Myrtle, they commit their third murder on Mae Mason, who she was totally fine. She didn't really have any underlying health issues or anything. So they kill her, they suffocate her, and a lot of the nurses' aides and nurses are really confused about her death. I don't have much more about her specifically. I don't know, why that didn't lead to an investigation either.
Because it's like the first thing that people are that are noticing is off, and that the investigation never starts with the first thing you think is a little weird.
So February 26th, just also very close together, they kill Belle Bicard. So another weird thing that they start doing is they would take days off work right after the murders, which I feel like that should have been suspicious. Like as soon as someone dies, like all of a sudden these 2 aren't together. That was a weird sound.
We're good.
What was that?
That was my ring.
Oh, it sounded like the
fidgeting.
Ring.
Yeah, I was fidgeting with it and it fell off.
If anyone hears that, if you don't cut that out, like that sounded like In the Ring, the movie, like that sound when the TV comes on.
It was a very clean sound.
That was kind of scary. Anyway, now I'm just
we are
thinking
so
about
easily distracted.
I'm thinking about the movie. It's a creepy movie.
It's a miracle we ever actually get a story done, because we're like, ooh, shiny.
Exactly.
Raccoons.
Okay. They take days off after their murders.
Yeah, that's kind of obvious.
Obviously not.
No,
I don't
obviously
know.
not. In hindsight's 2020 though.
So now we're moving on to April. April.
Oh, they waited
7th.
a month.
Yeah, we get through February with killing, I think, three people in February. Something
March
like
was
that.
quiet.
We get to April. Edith Cole is their next victim. She actually has she was in a rough spot. She had gangrene on her foot and like all of her toes. She was in so much pain, constantly screaming. So they do smother her, and it's Gwendolyn doing all of the killing, and Cathy is usually keeping watch. In the podcast I was listening to, I thought it was kind of interesting. Like, they kind of make it seem like Gwendolyn is the puppet and Cathy's doing the manipulating and making Gwendolyn do this. But in the book, Medical Monsters, it's the opposite. They make Gwendolyn out as like this monster, and Cathy is just kind of going along with it, keeping watch kind of thing. So I thought that was interesting.
Yes. So Gwendolyn maintains her innocence, claiming that the roles were reversed and that it was Wood, Cathy, who initiated and carried out the murders. But in this book that this guy named Lowell Cauffiel writes in 1992 called Forever in 5 Days, her story is that the couple's friends and coworkers, they had painted a different scenario where Wood is the dominant partner who manipulated Graham into killing everybody. So
it depends on the source, I guess.
Well, it's a he said, she said.
Exactly.
She said,
That's
said.
what it comes down to in the trials and everything. It's all messy. Just don't kill people. So, again, Gwendolyn's getting kind of sick of Cathy. She's losing interest in this whole thing. One morning, so Gwendolyn does start having an affair with another nurse's aide named Janet. So she meets up with Janet one morning while Cathy is working, and she confesses to Janet that she's killed 5 patients. But Janet's like, no, you're lying. This is just a prank. They even confess to Dawn as well, who was a nurse's aide that Cathy was kind of sleeping with before Gwendolyn, and Dawn just thinks it's a prank.
Well, Janet ends up testifying.
Yes.
And is like, well, she believes it obviously at that point. So she actually testified, and so did Cathy's most recent ex-husband. They both testified that they had both separately confessed to murdering all these people.
Yeah, they eventually have all these people testify for them. Let's see, May 1987 is where we're at. Cathy somehow gets promoted to a supervisor role as a charge tech at Alpine Manor. I don't know. I don't think she was qualified for that position, but I guess she's been there a long time. Like, her and Gwendolyn, because of the high turnover rate, like, they're still there together. She has more of an ego now once she gets promoted, and she's kind of resented by her coworkers. She belittles nurses' aides. She throws tantrums if rooms aren't super tidy, and she just creates more drama around the place. Gwendolyn eventually does quit and gets a new job. By July 1st, I don't remember where. She moves back
to Texas.
Yes,
excuse me. She meets another lady that she starts seeing in the spring of 1987, and she leaves Michigan, moves back to Texas with this lady, and she said it was because she was fleeing Cathy, who had apparently tied her up and threatened her with a gun.
Yeah, like Gwen tried getting away from Cathy. Cathy manipulated her to come back to her.
If I can't have you, no one will.
Yeah, one of those weird situations, and like Gwen tried to get out of. Yeah. So Cathy doesn't leave Gwendolyn alone. Gwendolyn moves to Texas.
You know it's bad if she moved back to Texas. Because Texas wasn't good to begin with.
She had a rough childhood. So yeah, I have that Cathy contacts her ex-husband. Maybe it was a new husband. Again, different sources, different things.
There's definitely 2 husbands.
Okay. And she confesses to him about the murders, and he doesn't contact the authorities right away.
Nope, he doesn't.
Yeah.
He went, because I don't think he believed her.
No one just believes them.
Because also, like, what a thing to have someone say to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Dun, dun.
So when he did go to the police, though, the problem was that so many people had died in the nursing home that year that nothing seemed suspicious. And that everything it's very easy to conceal murder when everybody's dying of natural causes. And the only reason really that they get convicted is because they get into this game of, no, it was her, no, it was her. And they just both totally confess to parts of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
October 6th, 1988, the authorities are finally contacted. So October 7th, a detective picks up Cathy from Alpine Manor for questioning. Once Cathy, she tried saying, no, it's just a prank, it's not real, whatever. Once she realized she wasn't just getting out of this, she tried pinning it on Gwendolyn.
In exchange for a plea deal.
So Cathy gets suspended from Alpine Manor. October 12th, this detective goes to Texas with a warrant to get Gwendolyn. So finally they're both in custody. They're both under investigation. And the nurses' aides that they worked with are finally questioned, and they all said that Cathy was pretty manipulative. So all the nurses' aides kind of come forward on their games and everything that was going on. Gwen is tried for the murder of Marguerite Chambers, and she pleads guilty and then testifies against Cathy. April 19th, 1989... Cathy has her preliminary hearing and testifies against Gwendolyn. So, all of this back and forth. And during all this, Gwendolyn's mental state is just quickly going out the front door. Like we talked about in the first episode, we find out she has borderline personality disorder. So it's a very long trial. He said, she said, blame game. September 20th, there's a 6 or 7 hour deliberation from the jury. They find Gwendolyn Graham guilty on 5 counts of murder. In November, she's given a life sentence without parole. Cathy gets off a little easier, and she's found guilty, but she's only given 20 to 40 years in prison because she's charged with second-degree murder and conspiracy to commit murder. So she never actually killed. She was just there and manipulating.
And held the secret for so long.
Wait, who was this who got off? Cathy? I'm pretty sure Cathy was the mastermind.
Yeah. It's, I mean, even all the nurses' aides were talking about how manipulative she was. And she was popular at first, but it didn't sound like she was very popular in the end.
She was smart enough to be the one to give up the information.
Yes. Even in prison, she continued to be manipulative and abusive towards other inmates. She would get people to give her money, and just, she kept going. She didn't stop the drama.
In this book, Forever in 5 Days, the author basically says that it looks like Cathy was willing to sacrifice her own freedom just to get revenge on Gwen for leaving her. That's like the level of
toxicity.
Yes.
Yeah. It was a toxic relationship from the start, and it just grew and got worse and worse and worse and worse. And very childish.
Like they were just killing people for like their own weird little relationship game. Like it's just so to
strengthen
weird
their bond. Yeah. They would tell each other things like, if you love me, you're going to kill this person, and mind games. October 2019, 59-year-old Cathy was let out on parole. So Cathy is not in prison anymore, unless something happened that we don't know about. But
I'm gonna look her up.
Yeah. You check her out. Gwendolyn, not sadly, Gwendolyn is still in prison.
She's still murderers.
So sad.
Cathy.
No, they should both be in prison forever. And it was after all the trials and everything, Gwendolyn went through a psychic evaluation, and it was discovered she had BPD from her messed up childhood and all of the messed up things that happened in her adulthood.
Let's see here. I found an article.
How's Cathy doing?
She is moving. She lives in South Carolina.
I know she had to go live with her sister, and she's obviously not allowed to work in healthcare with elderly people.
She left the federal prison in Tallahassee in June of 2021. And she's mandated to stay away from elderly people, children, and other vulnerable adults.
Thank gosh.
And she lives in Fort Mill, South Carolina, where she lives with her sister. And it worries the families of her victims, apparently, and other law enforcement people. They don't want her around. They think she's a danger to society, and they are gonna keep an eye on her. That's all I know.
I hope so. All right. So yeah, a little over a year, they killed 5 patients, and they lost sight of empathy in order to ignite their passion.
And it didn't even work out, so it was worthless.
Didn't even work out in the end.
All of it.
It just, the fire fizzled out. It was gone to ashes. That's the Crazy Duo, our first 2-part series of the podcast. And in 2 weeks, we are going to talk about a nurse who murdered her patients. At least I think she's a nurse. Haven't dived.
She's a nurse.
Dove too deep into it yet. Kristen Gilbert.
She was a nurse.
She was a nurse. No longer a nurse. Kristen Gilbert.
Yeah, it turns out they fire you from that job when you kill people.
But
good to know.
Yep. So.
All right. Ta-ta for now.
See you next time.
Murder. Thank you for listening to Healthcare Horrors, brought to you by Atlas MedStaff. Just a reminder, we are not healthcare professionals. We are just fans of true crime, talking about some of history's darkest moments in healthcare. Stay tuned, stay healthy, and stay safe. Healthcare Horrors. Murder.